Can you hear me? Okay. My deal with David is he gets to say the good news and I have to come in with bad news. No, it's not terrible, but we've had some delays. That's the problem. So many of you know, for those who don't, CTM and CBPA last November and December signed off on our committee's recommendations of the design for the revitalization project. And we've been working since then to try to get the final design drawings completed so that the project could be bid out. And we had hoped that those design drawings would be completed in the spring so they could be bid out in the summertime so that the work could start in August or perhaps September. And we ran into a lot of delays. Frankly, the delays tended to center around two things. One is the plaza. It's a complicated piece of work because of the environmental problems. We've talked about those in the past meetings, but for those who weren't at those meetings, as you know, one of the tenants on the plaza site was the dry cleaner, who apparently for years were dumping toxic chemicals into the down the drain, which seeped into the soils and all that type of thing. So that presents complications. And to be candid and frank, we even had a work stoppage because the city architects who were working on it refused to work further on the project. They felt that the environmental problem presented some professional liability to them, and so they just refused to continue to work on the project. So we've had to find another architectural firm, and we've been able to do that. We're meeting on Wednesday with the new firm in order to continue with the design of the plaza work. The plaza work ties in with the streetscape work, where you have the access coming up from the merchant's lot determines where you put the crosswalk across Ludlow Avenue, which determines where you put the light poles and the crossing lights and the parking meters, and it just has a snowball effect. So these things all kind of fit together. So when you have one that's a problem, then you can't finalize any of the rest of the things, and so that's caused a problem. There were other issues around the plaza that needed attention by different city staff members, and the city is very tight. You know, they've had years of budget cuts, and many departments are much smaller than they used to be, and so we just found that in some cases we couldn't get timely responses to things. We ended up having to kind of raise a ruckus, and so we got some things reassigned, and so it seems to have broken the log jam, and things are moving along, but the bad news is that it has delayed everything. So at this point in time, the engineering drawings still aren't completed, and the process that the city goes through to bid this kind of work out takes about 60 days. So even if the drawings were completed in the next couple of weeks, by the time you put the 60-day process on top of it, you're talking about signing construction contracts in November, which is the wrong time that you want to be tearing up a retail business district. So that effectively means that the construction work is delayed into the wintertime. The city feels that this kind of work can be done in the wintertime. There are, of course, there's danger if you try to do it in January, because if you get a couple of bad snowstorms in, you've got things torn up and no work can be done, and that gets everybody upset. So at this point in time, we're shooting for, but please, this is tentative. I'm just telling you where it stands tonight. We're shooting for mid-February to start the construction work. And usually in Cincinnati in February through March, especially late February through March, you get a good number of construction days when you can get work done. There will probably be some where they can't, but it shouldn't be too terrible a time. So that's where we stand as far as the construction goes. The work of vacating the building where Bender's Optical and the College Cleaners was located, that was delayed until we could get all these other issues kind of cleaned up. And so I think everybody knows by now that the Benders have closed their shop. They've kind of, it's been assumed into the Hyde Park store. So that the building is now vacant, things are cleared out. 2 weeks ago I would have told you that the property probably would have been demolished by tonight, but as you know, it's not demolished yet. So we keep finding about yet another step that has to take place. So we're hoping that in the next couple of weeks the building will be done. So that will give us a staging area for the construction project, which is a good thing. And it also allows us to do some final, we hope, environmental assessment. So, hope that answers questions.